Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening. Folks, thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 5th of December, and the year is 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motown Noah. Folks, it's a good night. Feeling okay right now. I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling relieved, I think is maybe the word. You ball watchers out there, I'm taping this as the Lions are kneeling it out. DJ Reed just had a pick on Dak Prescott, up 14 points. Were they in the red zone? They weren't in the red zone, but the Cowboys, it didn't matter. The Lions were going to win that game no matter what, even if DJ Reed didn't pick off that ball. The Lions won. Their season isn't over. I mean, that's the good news, right? It's not over yet. They're still fighting. It's effectively over for the Cowboys, which I'm not going to say is too bad for them because it's the Cowboys. And you know, them being bad is I think in the best interests of Americans. But they're not bad. They haven't been bad. They've been surging in this last month, and that's why coming into this game I was really nervous, man. That's why I say I'm relieved. And so I am going to try to honestly just exclusively focus on the positives from this game because I've otherwise been super cynical about the Lions this year, but they've given me every reason to react that way. And I say I'm about to be super positive about this game, but I do want to first start with some negative stuff about the last 10, 14 days from this Detroit Lions team and, sort of why I feel relief and sort of, setting the stage for what it was kind of like coming into this game. And, a lot of us knew what the stakes were for both of these teams. They're two teams that it's basically the loser leaves town. It's kind of like win or go home from even thinking about going to the playoffs. So this was a massive game for both teams. And it's fun to have, just as a side piece of commentary to this whole thing, it's fun to have a Thursday night game that actually matters. I think this year you've seen Al Michaels, okay, he's gotten it back. He's got his groove back. Good for him. But I think it's mostly because, first of all, the games have just objectively been better on Thursday night than they were a season ago. I think one of the reasons it helped that, the Lions and the Cowboys, well, traditionally they play on Thanksgiving every year. So normally when you're playing a Thursday night game, unless you had a bye on Sunday, you're operating on 4 days rest. That's a big reason why so many of these games are clunky and just bad, but these two teams that played tonight, they had a week's worth of rest. They had the full week. So, a couple injuries on both sides and, a lot for the Lions. And so maybe that's where we'll start with all this negative stuff. Going into that Packers game, I didn't talk about the Lions losing to the Packers on Thanksgiving. I haven't mentioned it. I didn't mention it in the last episode because America saw what happened in that game, and it really, I thought that game was kind of going to determine the direction of the season, and in a lot of ways it will kind of dictate, the playoff chances just plummeted for the Lions after that loss and makes it really hard to do anything meaningful in the division without rooting against the Packers because, well, of course we're going to root against the Packers, but, we got another game against the Bears. That helps. Got another game against the Vikings. The Lions are in a precarious position right now because they have to rely on so much outside help, and I mean, they don't have to, I guess, if they go after this game. What is it? They have 4 left, I think. So, I mean, you take care of business and you win those games, and we're not worried about anything. But in these last 10 to 14 days, I finally get around to it. In these last 10 to 14 days, just the whiplash that we've dealt with as Lions fans, you went from having the single most injured team a season ago. You fast forward 365 days, and we find out kind of randomly that, oh, Sam Laporte is hurt. That's weird. But okay, he'll come back. It is what it is. And then Dan Campbell's he got some surgery and he's probably done forever. Well, for the year, forever this year. Probably done forever this year. Maybe if they make a deep run in the playoffs, again, fingers crossed that they get there. This was a good step in the right direction. But it sounds like Sam Laporte is done. So, okay. Kirby Joseph, has been out for however long at this point in the secondary. It's not just that he's hurt. It's, I guess, I don't know medically how to describe it, but because I didn't understand anything that the guy was saying with the video that I watched, but it sounds like the injury that Kirby Joseph has is so weird and specific, and I think it's his knee, that it's actually, I think Dan Campbell recently said, it very well could linger into next year. So I don't know if that means we're getting Kirby back at any point this year. I haven't seen any language that says straight up he's done for the year. That wouldn't be good. Brian Branch, down with is an ankle injury, and he got carted off. Yeah, not great, Bob. So you're dealing with these injuries and, guys who are out for the entire season. Dog, we've complained so much this year about Frank Ragnow because I just think he his retirement just kind of like hoed the team really bad. This starting center, this fixture on your offensive line for a decade, like an all-pro level guy, retiring after the draft and after free agency. Like, when it's time, brother. Like, it is what it is. But that sucks because there's nothing you can do about losing that guy. What about when it's, a couple days? Well, it wasn't before the Thanksgiving game. Wasn't it before the Sunday game? It doesn't matter. 2 weeks ago, we find out Frank Ragnow's coming out of retirement. 10 days ago, we find out Frank Ragnow's coming out of retirement and he's going to rejoin the Lions. The guy, his wife just had a kid like 3 weeks ago. And it was when his wife had a kid that collectively Lions fans were like, all right, so it's definitely over for him. Good for him. He wants to do the family thing. The guy just wants to go fishing. The guy just wants to go hunting in like the wilderness in Alaska. More power to you, brother. I love it for you. But he's coming back. But he's coming back. Yeah, until he's fucking not. Until he's not, and he doesn't pass a physical, and he had like a grade 3 hamstring strain. So unless that happened while he was doing his like physical stuff, and I don't know, was he like doing like drills to like doing like a 3-cone drill to be like, see, I can still move around. Did he like pull a hamstring or something? I don't know. He didn't pass his physical, and the NFL's like, all right, well, you can't unretire, and you have to stay in Alaska. I don't actually know if he's in Alaska. I don't think he is, but he just loves to fish and hunt. So Frank Ragnow actually not coming back. We were hoodwinked, and for like 4 days, we thought that he was going to be the saving grace. It was fiction. We made it up. Misinformation. I could keep going on about this, but the Stars, man, they Amon-Ra got hurt, but he, it looks like he's completely fine after this Cowboys game. He got hurt against the Packers. No, listen, man, there's been a lot in the last month that as Lions fans, it seems like it's kind of written in the stars a little bit that, maybe it's just not going to be this year. Maybe we just need to, it's a really tough division this year. The whole conference is really special. And, the Seahawks are 9-3, and they're in a wild card spot because, the Rams are also 9-3. And I, coming into this game, you talk about the Cowboys surging. Well, the Lions have been reverse surging, and their identity has kind of been up in the air this year in a lot of these games. And so for them to come out in this Cowboys game and, hang 44 and yeah, look, it was a 2-score game. It was a 1-score game, just going into the 2-minute warning with 3 minutes, 20 seconds left in the game. It was a 1-score game. The Lions had to take care of business, and they did. They went 70 yards in 3 or 4 plays, and it only took a minute and a half. Yeah, man. I mean, the big catch from Amon-Ra on that drive. I think this may have been, again, I say that it was kind of close. Yeah, I just didn't really feel like it was that close, despite the fact that, what was once a 27-9 game very quickly became a 27-30 game. I just wasn't sweating because I really trusted the offense in this game. I think both teams, for the most part, that's actually what I was about to say isn't true in the first half of the Cowboys. I was going to say, both teams were really efficient with their drives. And, pretty much no matter what, they were getting points one way or another. I guess if you just frame it that way, that is at least true. Brandon Aubrey for the Cowboys, is he the best player in the NFL? My girlfriend, Maddie, she, every time he would line up for a field goal, she has this thing where anytime a kicker in the NFL, he lines up for a field goal or an extra point, she heckles him through the TV. And so right before he kicks it, she'll be like, bitch. And if he makes it, she'll be like, okay, so that doesn't work. And then the next time he kicks, she'll say something else like dumbass. And if he misses the kick, that's her thing now. She's like, okay, for the rest of the game, I just have to say dumbass every time he goes to kick the ball, right? So Brandon Aubrey goes up to, he's hitting all these fucking 100-yard field goals, and every single time she tries something else. You're gay. She tries something else every single time. And I'm like, babe, this guy, you're not going to rattle this guy. This guy's not going to miss. And then what was it, a 63-yarder that he banged in? Which in the grand scheme of things in the NFL this year, I mean, these last couple of years, a 60-yarder is like a 50-yarder 10 years ago. You know what I mean? These guys just kind of be hitting them. He bangs in that 63-yarder, and she goes, God damn. I go, I'm motherfucking trying to tell you over here, sweetheart. You're not going to mess with this guy. And so I don't know. I think the Lions did a really good job of canceling out, especially in that first half, anything that the Cowboys would do. Namely, you think about going into halftime, the Cowboys drove down and they were able to get a field goal. And then the Lions, in just like a couple plays with only one timeout, got a couple penalties that went their way too. They were able to drive down the field in I don't know, was it under a minute? And they were able to get 3, so it effectively canceled out the drive that Dallas had just had, what they thought was going to be able to close out the half. And just seizing opportunities when they present themselves, forcing turnovers, putting points on the board. The Lions were never in a position where they had to really think about going for it on 4th down because they didn't get off schedule. They got business done on 1st and 2nd down. And so they were very seldom in these, 3rd and even medium situations. Like, they were just getting it done. I think the defense, what you saw from them in this Cowboys game was something that we haven't seen, especially from that defensive front. With Muhammad especially. I think he had, 3 sacks in this game. The Lions had more sacks in this game against the Cowboys, than they've had in the last month combined. Was it 5 in this game? I think in the last, what did Al Michaels say? Last 4 games, they've had 4 sacks? 4 games is about a month. Yeah. Well, that's actually not true because we just played. It doesn't matter. The Lions were able to get to the quarterback tonight. That was massive. I should say this. If there's any Cowboys fans out there, are going to get a little upset. There's a penalty that was called. Ferguson got called for an offensive pass interference. The Cowboys were down 10 with about 3 minutes left in the game, and he gets called on a 3rd and 3 for offensive pass interference. Now, the booth originally thought the flag was going to be called on Alex Anzalone. And he kind of wrapped his hand around his waist a little bit. Look, and Jake Ferguson, by the way, didn't do anything. That was not offensive pass interference. I don't think it should have been a flag at all. I kind of just thought it was, I guess if you're going to call it on anybody, I guess maybe it should have been on Anzalone. So there are a few layers to this, though. One, the history of the Lions and the Cowboys and the Zebras, not going to feel bad about this one. Not going to feel bad about it. The other thing that I would say, look, numbers play a big role in this game. And I don't know, 4th and 3, you're on what were they, inside the 10? Were they on the 6-yard line? 4th and 3, you're down 10, 3 minutes left. At that point, they had all 3 of their timeouts. The Lions declined the offensive pass interference. Why don't you go for it? Now, in the booth, they said our Amazon Prime, the numbers, the advanced analytics do not say that they should go for it there. There's no benefit to going for it there. What, you don't trust your offense? Ooh, trouble in paradise. You don't trust your offense. CeeDee Lamb goes down with one little teensy tiny little baby concussion, and suddenly, don't trust the offense to convert on a 4th and 3 inside the opponent's 10-yard line, down 10 with 3 minutes. Okay, could have gone for it, and instead they didn't. So I just kind of thought that whole thing ended up being a wash, man. There were some crazy plays that happened in this game. There was a moment where it was in the early stages of this game. Pickens had a play where I thought he dislocated his shoulder. He fell on the ground and it hit kind of weird. And what a special player he's become this year. Everybody's thrown out in these last couple of weeks. Everybody's thrown out the stat about George Pickens and how he alone this season has more receiving yards than all of the Steelers receivers combined. He just got traded from the Steelers a couple months ago. And it's funny, it's pretty crazy, but he really has been special this year. And another thing they talked about on the broadcast, I think they hit the nail right on the head because there really is so much unselfishness between Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Sometimes it's going to be CeeDee's game, and until he went out with a concussion, it absolutely was CeeDee's game. He went out of the game, checked out with a concussion, 6 receptions, 121 yards. I think he had a touchdown too, and then it was on Pickens after that point to kind of pick up the slack, and unfortunately he couldn't. Instead, he decided to set an illegal pick, which is the word illegal there is is the operative word. Is that how you use that? Is that how you use that phrase? I don't know how to say. If I say something as the operative word, am I saying it's like doing the heavy? I don't want to get into the semantics of this. I don't want to. I'm not proud of the team. Oh, I am. You know what? I am. Because it's not over yet. With a win, the Lions' playoff chances only, they go up to 53%. I think with a loss, it was 30 something, low 30s%. So it's a big win, man. All they got to do is take care of business, and it's a tough schedule. They got a tough rest. So we got 4 games left. I could pull this up, but so we play the Rams. We still got the Vikings. We still got the Bears. Then there's going to be another team or two in there. It's going to suck if this team is 10-7, or how would this work? 10-7 or 11-6. and they don't make the playoffs, 10-7 would, either way, that's going to stink if that is. They just got to take care of business. And another thing that I think is interesting, and I don't blame Lions fans for this, the ones who are actually at these games, but there is a palpable, like, nervous energy at these home games these last few weeks. Like, every time, and again, I don't blame Lions fans, because I'm the same way at home, right? Like, and what I mean is, Jameer will bust off maybe a catch out of the backfield, or, a zone, run or whatever the fuck. He'll break off 15, 20 yards. In the fractions of seconds following that, and while the play is happening, you do a little, okay, nice. And then back to reality. Let's see what happens. Like, what's going to happen next, though? Because the way that this season has gone, Jameer has these big plays, and then the drive will just completely stall out, right? And I think the crowd is really reflective of, this is going to sound so dumb, what I'm about to say, but like, the atmosphere at these games is very reflective of like what it feels like to watch a Lions game right now, where I just think the last 2 years, they've just been louder, and I just think they've been more energetic, and I just think they've been more excited. It's a great place to play a game. It's a great place to watch a game. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great crowd. But there does seem to be something different this year with the energy in the stands. And I get it, because I'm doing the same thing when I'm at home. But when something crazy happens, like, when it's the end of the game and they finally put the game in hand, and, Muhammad gets a big sack, and then DJ Reed has like a super, I don't want to say fluky interception, but maybe like he just concentrated really well and focused on the ball. And, then the crowd goes nuts, but, a quarter of them are already left. And I don't know if it was that high, but I did see some empty seats. No, I don't know where I'm going with this at this point. I'm just, all right, all right, okay, cool. Name a more iconic duo between the Lions and hanging 1 million points on these Dallas Cowboys in these last couple of years. Name a more iconic duo. Because what was it? Was it last year? Yeah, it had to have been last year. So 2 years ago would have been the, Taylor Decker didn't report as eligible, or that he did. What the fuck happened with it? They said that Skip reported as eligible, but it was actually Taylor Decker. I think that's what it was. So that was 2 years ago. Lions lose that game. And then it was last year, the Lions revenge game, where they put up 100 points on the Cowboys in Jerry World. That was also the game when the Lions were up by 50, that Hutch broke his leg and was out for the rest of the year. They maintained that if we went to the Super Bowl, he would have been able to come back. That was like Aaron Rodgers level. I blew out my Achilles and I'm going to come back in 3 months. Not quite as insane, but still like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. They're alive. And I'm still going to be nervous. I am going to tell you, I don't think this, I'm not going to say this makes me a bad fan, but I do think that, like, if they lose to the Rams, I've been bumping the mic a lot. I apologize if that's been picking up and, disruptive. If they lose that game to the Rams, man, and it, knocks them out, if the Bears and the Packers win, and then like it drops us to like 15% to make the playoffs, I don't think I will have it in me. I don't think I'll have it in me for the rest of the year. Like, if they're not playing for anything, it's going to hurt me too much. It's going to break my heart to watch this team play like meaningless football. It was different when it was a few years ago, and, we were just trying to build something. The Lions have something, and if it's not going to happen, I'm not going to be able to watch them sputter for 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of the season, if God forbid, they're out at that point. I also want to say, and, as a final note here, I think I got a lot more, but I'll keep it quick because I don't want to talk about the Lions forever today. Jahmyr Gibbs tied the record for the most touchdowns in NFL history for somebody before turning 24 years old. The record is currently held by Barry Sanders. Jahmyr Gibbs had 3 touchdowns tonight. The record is 47. Well, the record is currently 47, and so by the end of the season, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to score 1 more touchdown, and right now he's tied with Barry for the most touchdowns in NFL history before turning 24 years old. And he's gonna break that. And for a player that special, I mentioned an episode or two ago that I think he's the most explosive player in football right now. And while there's absolutely zero chance that he will get an MVP this year or even be in the conversation, I really think he should be in the conversation. I really think there should be like a hat tip. Oh yeah, remember Jahmyr Gibbs and how good he's been this season and how vital he's been to this Detroit Lions offense? Because even in the weeks where, like, I don't know how to phrase this, like, there have been weeks, I should say, where he is very literally out of the backfield and then, out of, I guess exclusively out of the back. Well, they line him up at receiver sometimes. Listen, man, there have been plenty of games this season where he's really the only guy who can get positive yards, And even David Montgomery today, he had a sick, grown man, nasty freak touchdown run. And I sent the text, I go, maybe they'll finally give him more touches this year. Because there's been something with that's really bothered me, that Monty Williams has just been Monty Williams. That David Montgomery, this makes me mad. It makes me so sad that Monty Williams has been phased out of Detroit sports. Fuck that guy. No, David Montgomery kind of been phased out of the backfield, which is weird. But, given what I just said about Jahmyr Gibbs, it makes, I get it, but I also don't get it at all. To offset their carries. There's just been such a steep drop-off this year, and I would be curious to know why. I haven't heard Dan comment on this. Maybe he has. Someone can pass that along to me if they'd like. But the Lions are still alive. For right now, the Lions are still alive, folks. CombingHourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. So I was originally just going to do Giannis stuff, but then something happened tonight, and we got an email. I'll just use this as sort of a vehicle. We got some breaking news, folks. This just happened within the last few hours. This is from Emily. Emily, welcome back to the show, I believe. Subject line: LeBron's streak is over. Hi, Nick. I am in awe. LeBron's streak is over. Could have made the shot or let the game go to overtime, but he made that pass, and Rui made it. He hasn't announced it yet, but given how he's been playing this year, I think this is the beginning of the end. LeBron's last season, his retirement tour. I can't see him still playing at 42, but he hasn't formally announced anything. After this, I can honestly say he might pack it up without making a big fuss. He passed the torch to Luka, Austin. What's going on? Oh, this is I'm sorry, my screen's glitching out. I'm so sorry. This is so clunky. I'm so sorry. He passed the torch to Luka. Austin Reeves might be an all-star, and LeBron let his streak end on his own terms by passing to a wide-open Rui Hachimura. LeBronto went out with a... Yeah, that is what you said. I'm sorry. I thought I thought it said LeBron and my mouth just said LeBronto. No, you actually said LeBronto. LeBronto went out with a bang. I'm just processing this as I type, and I can't believe it. His streak was older than Bryce. That's wild. Wow, is that true? LeBron's 10-point scoring streak is older than Bryce Maximus James. I didn't know that. That's crazy. You said, hope you're having a fun... Yeah, Emily, I was having a fun time watching the Lions. You say smack the Cowboys. Well, at the time you sent this email, yeah, they were smacking that shit out of them. Yeah, okay, so LeBron's streak is over. I got a text in the middle of the Lions game from Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets. And it was like some cryptic, guess it's time to make that secret trip to Germany. Now, I knew immediately that he was referencing when Kobe went to Germany and he got adrenochrome injected into his knee and became Benjamin Button, or at least his body did. That's actually, it really didn't. But I knew he was talking about that. I go, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, LeBron, with a question mark. I'm like, pussy, don't do this. Don't give me sass. The Lions are on right now. The fuck? Because I asked you a question and you're going to, LeBron, fucking Jacob, his racket. I go, oh, and so he let me know about it. I go, that's too bad. And he said the exact same thing you did. He broke it down for me. He goes, yeah, he passed to Rui and blah, blah, blah. He's like, he could have shot it, but, he doesn't care about his stats. I go, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen the clip. I'm only reading about this from you guys because I've just been so dialed on the Lions game, And, but the real, conversation here is what people have been talking about for this last week. Was it who are they just playing? Was it the Suns? When LeBron, JJ Redick is trying to call a play and LeBron is just talking to I think it was the Suns. I apologize if it wasn't. We've all seen the clip. He's talking to the opposing team's bench and JJ's like, LeBron, a hammer play. Get it, run a hammer play out of a horns set. You run the 2-up, you get the horns set. LeBron's not listening. He's talking to fucking Royce O'Neal on the bench, whoever the hell's on the Suns at this point. JJ Redick calls a timeout, and the camera cuts to him, and he does he rolls his eyes a little bit, he shakes his head. People start talking about how checked out LeBron seems, and they talk about how his physical ability appears to be at a place that we never thought it would be at, And that's what Emily laid out here. You talk about the farewell tour, and I can't see him playing at 42, and this has got to be it. Well, girl, get ready to learn 42-year-old LeBron. Get ready to learn LeBron in year 24. I don't believe it. Don't believe it for a second. Because I haven't even agreed that it's over for him physically. I believe the people who say that there's a non-zero chance that he's like throwing a little bit of a fit right now. And I don't think it's crazy. Wasn't there a report that came out today, or like a rumor? I don't remember. I don't know how credible this actually was, but there are rumblings that he wants to play again next year. It's just going to be for a different team. You know, there is no shot that guy goes out with a whimper and doesn't go out with a full 82 game schedule full of retirement, bullshit. There's no way he does. But then the question is like, bro, you're not going to play all those games, and obviously you can sit out a lot more at home. I think that's kind of the consensus with everybody is like, load management sucks, but like at least do it at a home game. Doing it on the road is what really, really sucks. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. And I don't even think you could show me LeBron scoring 5 points and going 1 for 25 for the next 2 weeks. And I would still say what I'm saying right now. I think, to be honest with you, if we got to that point, then it's pure denial. I don't think I'm in denial yet. We're not there yet. If in a month I'm still saying this shit and he's averaging like 12 points a game and he's just not like what you guys have been talking about here, you and Jacob, about, oh, he passed the ball to Rui Hachimura. He passed the ball to a guy who has one testicle. Passed the ball to a guy who has one ball, Rui Hachimura. Very famously, his testicle exploded during his rookie season when Isaiah Stewart kicked him in the nuts. That's a fact. Look it up. It might not have been Stu, actually, but somebody on the Pistons, it's an elbow or a knee right into the balls, and he literally ruptured a testicle. I swear to God, look it up. LeBron passed the ball to that guy? To a Japanese guy who has one ball? There's a funny way to look at it. I don't know what's funny about it, but the fact that, did Michael Jordan ever play with a Japanese guy who had one ball? I don't think that. I don't think he did. Did LeBron ever, I'm sorry, did Jordan ever play with, not Neil Armstrong, not the fucker who went to the moon, Lance Armstrong? That guy wasn't Asian. That guy wasn't Asian. The whole Lance Armstrong thing was kind of like, I wasn't like too young for it. I just didn't care when the whole like Live Strong thing was like a hack. And then we found out, well, it's not that Live Strong was a hack unless they were, I don't know, doing something bad with their money. I don't remember that part. What I'm actually thinking of here was just when he went on Oprah and he was like, yeah, I've been doping, and he was doing drugs. And it was like, wasn't part of his story that didn't he like beat cancer or something? And so, to be honest with you, I mean, one of the most successful athletes in the history of the world, because it was cheating, and right, that's what it was. He was doping, right? And I don't really know that much about him because it's cycling, bro. Because it's cycling. You know how many cycling emails we've gotten since I started the show? Probably like 5. That's 4 too many, brother. That's 4 too many. Not gonna read. Usually they're all about the Tour de France. Where was I going with? Oh, we were still talking about LeBron. Right, because he passed to a Japanese guy who has one ball. No, I don't think I refuse to believe it's over for him physically. I believe that the hourglass, the grains of sand are limited. But if we had an hourglass that had 100 grains of sand for his entire career, and this is year 23. So we'll just say that's like roughly 3 1/4 grains of sand per season. Is that what that math would be? Roughly. I think there is, what weird numbers I'm using here. I don't even know how to quantify. I've put myself in such a weird position here. 4 grains of sand? How do I do this? There's still something. I think we saw it in the Olympics. I know that was over a year ago, but I'm just like, I just think he's still, I'm in denial. I think it's happening. Yep. Folks, welcome to the Coping Hour, where we cover all the biggest stories and we cover them from all angles. And every now and then we do fall into a sort of meta position where we find ourselves coping with certain realities. This reality appears to be one where I'm struggling to cope with the conception, the idea that LeBron might not be the best player in the world. Well, he hasn't been the best player in the world for like 5 years, but you know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's not his last season. It's not. I honestly would take, How many points how many grains of sand would I take away from LeBron's legacy? Let's just keep using grains of sand. I would take a lot of grains of sand away. If he just kind of, if he just kind of Irish goodbyes the NBA, damn, that would be kind of badass though. What if you just never heard from LeBron again? And I don't mean in finally, we don't have to hear from this guy again. But what if you just went full zero dark 30? Well, actually, that's literally something he does. First of all, the zero dark 30 thing, he's kind of stopped doing it. He kind of stopped doing it once he went to LA, I feel like. Maybe there was 1 or 2 years where he did do it. But I don't know, for the longest time, the day that the playoffs started, LeBron would tweet out hashtag zero dark 30 with a zipped mouth shut emoji. And everybody was like, fuck yes. Here he comes. What was it, 8 straight finals that LeBron went to for, 8 straight years. It was during that, so when he would tweet zero dark 30 mode, it was fuck yes. Although it is funny to me that he would tweet that he would tweet zero dark 30. And that was his way of showing everybody or telling everybody it's fucking on and I'm about to go to the finals again and I'm about to do some wicked voodoo shit. Yeah, dog, but you're referencing, I assume, the movie about the SEAL Team 6 killing Bin Laden. So so every time it's mid-April in the 2010s, once mid-April hit, LeBron would sort of get into this psyche where this is fucking crazy if you think about it this way. LeBron's motivation to getting to the NBA Finals for 8 consecutive seasons was him getting into the headspace of Robert O'Neal. And that guy's fucking fake as fuck. He was not there and he didn't shoot dick or balls. He didn't shoot Bin Laden. That guy's an op, bro. That guy, I don't know what he is, but he's something. That guy's an operative. I don't know what he is. He's something. So LeBron, in order to get himself right in the mindset of winning an NBA championship, he had to envision the idea of landing in Abbottabad and Abbottabad. Is that where they were in Pakistan? And killing Bin Laden. That's how LeBron psyched himself up for so many years. I mean, it worked. Clearly it worked. So as the inverse of that, when did they kill Bin Laden? 2011? Well, it's 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. I think it was 2011. So what were the SEALs watching on the helicopter ride into Pakistan when they killed Bin Laden? Well, if it was 2011, I think it was in May. So Jason Terry hadn't killed LeBron yet in the finals. No, he did. No, he didn't. No, that was 2011. I was going to say that was 2010. That was 2011. And then 2012 was the Heat, 2013 Spurs, 2014 Spurs. Yeah. Fuck, where's I going with this? Yeah, I don't know. Is this funny at all? Am I going anywhere with this? Well, so what did they watch in the helicopter ride? Probably his 25 or 27 straight points that he had against the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals. They probably just watched those highlights. At that point, LeBron had hit that shot against Orlando in the playoffs, the buzzer beater. Yeah, he had done that. At that point, was it Kevin Harlan or Marv Albert? The LeBron James with no regard for human life. One of the single greatest calls in the history of American sports. That had happened at that point. Matter of damn fact, if I heard LeBron James with no regard for human life, I think the first thing I would have thought of at the time was I gotta kill Osama bin Laden. I gotta kill him right now. So I guess that would make sense. I guess that would play. If it happened today, that's a dumb question. Oh, blocked by James. Yeah, you'd watch that. You gotta watch that Kyrie shot. Man, I don't want to ever watch that shit again. That Kyrie shot in Game 7, to me, is the exact same thing as the Aaron Rodgers I'm so disgusted that I'm even bringing this up. The Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary that he had in Ford Field, 15 damn years ago. A play, by the way, that I have only ever seen once, and it was on SportsCenter the next morning because I had fallen asleep. It was a school night, so I had fallen asleep. I wake up eating my cereal the next day. I see Aaron Rodgers throws a damn Hail Mary. I've never watched it since. I will never watch that play again, ever. I watched different, I've watched highlight packages in the past of when it's the off season, I'll just watch here are the craziest touchdowns. You know what I mean? Just to get a little bit of football juice. Anytime that Aaron Rodgers play comes up in those damn things, man, I skip +10, +10, +10. The Kyrie shot's the same way. I don't want to watch it. I acknowledge it as one of the single biggest shots that has ever been hit in the National Basketball Association. And I recognize Kyrie as such a supremely exceptional talent, but I don't want to watch that shit. Alrighty, folks. What about the other single biggest news, the actually real life biggest news that we've had this week. It's not the Chris Paul thing. I don't want to do that yet. I'll do the Chris Paul thing. I'll just be a little bit late because I'm going to spend too much time on it, and I want to do the Giannis thing. Don't let me forget to talk about Chris Paul on Sunday for the next episode. Let's do Giannis, man. It's happening, Bucks fans. And I know you know, and I know you don't want to hear it, and I know you've got to be at peace with it at this point, and I think I have done everything I can to be supportive to Bucks fans through these last few years, and the amount of times that it has looked like Giannis may have a foot out the door, for one reason or another, whether it's Giannis himself being like, he distances himself from the rumors that he may or may not have helped create. I know Bucks fans have always kind of been like, Shams, just be making shit up. Sometimes it kind of has felt like he has, but even then, this has always sort of felt like an inevitability, right? And so, another way that these rumors would go away is, John Horst would just pull a rabbit out of a hat, and you can't say they didn't try. And I don't want to do the whole autopsy yet on Giannis's Bucks career. I'm not going to do all that yet. I'll just wait for whenever this happens, and I think maybe that's somewhere else to go with this. So first, let me just say, if somehow you haven't seen, it sounds like LeBron, God damn it. It sounds like Giannis and his agent, they sat down with Bucks brass and they discussed their future and, the possibilities moving forward. And that's kind of all that we know right now, other than it sounds like, Doc Rivers was asked about this, and he was like, let me be clear. Doc Rivers, he does have a little bit of an Alex Jones to him, but it's not full Alex Jones. Let me be clear. He's like, Giannis never asked for a trade, and he's super adamant about it. Giannis never asked for a trade. This didn't happen. I'm like, you're right, Doc. His agent did. Giannis's agent did. And so what I do want to talk about here is what every other damn hack on the internet is talking about right now. Where and when. The when, we got the December 15th thing coming up, and that's when that's the unofficial start of trade season in the NBA. That's when the recently signed guys over the summer can be traded. There's also a deadline in January too for that. I don't know if that is guys who are on extensions, who had recently signed extensions, can be traded. I don't remember what that deadline is, but December 15th is the unofficial start. That's when the real big boy shit can start happening. The trade deadline in the beginning of February, like the first week of February, I think the 4th or the 5th. I don't think it can, there's no way it happens in this calendar year. This calendar NBA year, I should say, just broadly, this is the NBA season. This is going to be surely a middle of June, because you can apparently make trades in the middle of the fucking finals. The Pacers made a trade in the finals this last year. What the hell is that? You can do that? Oh, okay. Or no, it wasn't the Pacers. I don't think somebody made a trade in the was it the Kevin Durant trade? Did that happen in the finals? Is that what I'm thinking of? There was. It doesn't matter, dude. This has to be a summer thing, and that's when all these teams, they'll have as much open cap as they can possibly have, and they'll have the open roster spots, and they got all this stuff, and the flexibility that you're afforded when it's the off season and not the middle of the damn season, is super vital in a situation like this. Now, this is something that Jacob, aka Rusty Buckets, and I were talking about. What's interesting to me, well, first, I'm sorry, let me say this, because the important bit here is in the 24 hours, that we're talking about Giannis and his future and how it looks like it's probably over in Milwaukee. They play a game on Wednesday night at home against Detroit. And we're 3 minutes into this game, and Giannis goes down with a non-contact injury. I replayed the replays over and over and over and over again, until I came to the conclusion that literally nothing happened. Nothing happened. He just kind of went to the ground. I thought it was very, very bizarre. Everybody immediately thinking the Achilles thing, but I'm like, the way that he's stepping, first of all, you can see his calves. There's no pop. That's usually, you almost always see that, right? I'm like, no. I go to Reddit. Brother, people thought he was faking the shit out of that injury. Whoa. I was like, something weird just happened there. I was not immediately going to he faked the injury. I mean, the amount of that I saw was crazy. And that's something that really bothered me, because to me, it just stripped the context of everything that we know about Giannis and everything that he has shown his character to be, since he got into the league 12 years ago. This is not a guy, I get it. I just don't, I think it sucks that people project what other athletes, not even just NBA players, but like what other athletes have done and will continue to do, which is like that weak shit that there are players who would do something like that. Like James Harden seems like a guy who in the past would have done some bullshit like this. I guess he did in his own way. He just put on a fat suit when he wanted to get out of Houston, and he, you know what I mean? It's like, and then he did it a little bit in Brooklyn too. So like he kind of did his own thing, and it was very unique, and I admire that. Although yeah, I guess in some sense that was a pretty unique approach to being like, get me the hell out of here. But Giannis is faking an injury. By the way, we're like 2 months removed from even people who listen to this show. By the way. We may have very softly peddled that this could be happening, but I think I backed off of it pretty quick. Dude, you know how many people accused Lamar Jackson of faking a hamstring injury? And then I don't remember the severity of it other than he was out for like 5 weeks. Whoops. People were like, well, he's just playing bad and he doesn't want to take the blame, so he's taking a dive and he quit on his team and he's faking an injury. Whoops. And then he missed a month and the Ravens were in the dumpster. Now things are kind of looking like, they still, I don't know. I don't know I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I think they may have gotten into too deep of a hole. But no, Giannis is faking injury. And then we find out it's a calf strain. And this is something that we talked about a couple weeks ago with Victor Wembanyama. You know, you hear the words calf strain in 2025, and your brain immediately goes to an Achilles rupture. Because that's sort of what the A to B has been in these last few years is you rush back too quickly from a calf strain, and that's how these guys are blowing out their Achilles. And so, boy, oh boy, does that give Giannis some leverage. It doesn't help the conspirators who think that he's faking the injury because of what I just said, and because everybody's been feeling that way with these injuries, and you take so much caution with them, these days. It's not going to help. It's not going to help, and it gives Giannis a lot of leverage to sit back and assess the future. And so, this is where I was going with it, is Jacob, a.k.a. Rusty Buckets, and I were talking about, like, he's just not the guy to hold up the league and say, here's the only team that you can trade me to. Here's the only team that I will let you send me to. But, like, there is definitely going to be a list. There's got to be a list, because he's also going to keep his family in mind. And let's say, I think at some point, in the next couple of minutes, we'll start entertaining a Detroit trade. But I'll just start here, right? Milwaukee to Detroit, sort of environmentally, is a sort of lateral move, right? And so I'm thinking in my head, if it's not the Knicks, I don't know where he's going to go. I think it's going to be the Knicks. The only reason that I say that is because of what was very well documented within these last few. Well, when did this information come out? It was within the last month. Like, randomly, we just found out that there was how long was the window? Was it like a week-long window where the Knicks were given like the exclusive rights to negotiate a Giannis trade and to figure something out? Why do you think that happened? Do you think that happened behind Giannis's back? Hell no. No. And there are teams that make sense. I was listening to Bill Simmons, and he was talking about Atlanta. What he was saying did make sense, but no. I mean, they have that Pelicans pick, and he's right about that. They got that Pelicans pick this year that they traded away in order to get Derek Queen. Super, super valuable pick. If you're Milwaukee, you're interested in that. Especially because, you want to otherwise get picks from, another team like San Antonio. That's another team that Giannis could go to. They got a lot of stuff that the Bucks would be interested in. Oklahoma City, obviously, the sort of, if you are Sam Presti, you have a sort of Oppenheimer moment here where you could be the man who single-handedly destroys the world. And you say, what if there was zero parity for the next, 5 years from now, Giannis will be out of his prime. It could happen sooner than that, but 5 years from now, he's in his 30s. By then, it'll be over, right? What if for the rest of the decade, nobody had a chance? And I think that's kind of the take here, is whoever trades for Giannis, I don't know if Milwaukee will go in conference, but otherwise, who would it be? People have been floating out Los Angeles. No. There's no way, man. There's no way. Golden State. It's another team that people have thrown out. I mean, you want what? Kuminga and Moody and Pajemski and no. No. I don't want any of this. No. And so I think whoever ends up with Giannis, that's the only chance that I think anybody's going to have at at beating Indiana. I'm sorry, at beating Oklahoma City. And why I just said Indiana was because I was going to say, like, well, Nick, Indiana just took them to 7 games, and barring what happened to Tyrese Halliburton in that 7th game, there's a non-zero chance. In fact, a coin flip chance, perhaps, that Indiana wins that game and they win the finals. So how could you say that, like, all a team needs is Giannis? I just think, like, the way that this team has leveled up, like, even more so than they were a year ago, I think you're seeing minutes from Chet that, for a guy who these last few years has only gotten better and better, I mean, this is the best he's ever looked, I think. And what's going on with Jalen Williams? Did he come back yet? I think I saw the other night that he came back. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. Shea has been playing so well. The Thunder have been playing so well that, like, he's playing 30 minutes and then it's the beginning of the 4th quarter. It's like, all right, bro, like, we don't need you anymore. Who's the guy? Is it AJ Williams? Is that who I'm thinking of? Is it AJ Williams? What's this guy's name? Like, the Thunder will have like a 13th man who will just go out and give you like 15. What the huh? This team, I think as of this taping, is 21-1. Huh? Did you hear me? Folks, they're 21-1. What's crazy is, like, do you know who cares? Bro, no one. No one cares that they're 21-1. And I think it's like, I could do the thing where I'm like, well, the media doesn't want to talk about them. Yeah, I don't think that they particularly do. But, like, I don't know. Like, it's not like you see that many people clamoring about it on the internet either. Like, why are people talking about Oklahoma City? Every time I say that they're a very likable team, I get a lot of you guys who say, actually, that's not true at all, and they're incredibly unlikable and cringe. I'm like, why? Because they take shit super seriously, and they, like, play together as, like, a legitimate unit, and they have fun, and they're all a bunch of kids, and, like, that's kind of it. I don't know what's unlikable about them as dudes. Like, okay, you don't like Shea because he, like, pushes off, and hey, he finally got called for a push off just the other night. So, like, oh, I don't know, maybe the tides are turning there. No, probably not. Probably not. Dog, the Warriors, when Luke Walton was coaching the team for the first, third of the season, was it the 26th? Oh, yeah, it was the year they went 73-9, wasn't it? That, like, the first 30 games, because Steve Kerr had a back injury on some real life alert shit, he couldn't get up the stairs. Luke Walton had to coach the team. Dog, I could have coached that team and we would have won 25 games in a row. You know what I mean? Like, that was a different and seemingly unprecedented level of success for a new generation of fans, at the very least, right? To see a team get off to that hot of a start. What Oklahoma City is doing, in essence, isn't entirely different. It's not entirely different, the start that they've gotten off to. They're also the defending champions, by the way. And guess what? The same way the Warriors were, defending champions, and they're getting off to this start. And guess what? People don't care. It's weird. I think that's weird. And I got to tell you, I'm just bummed. I'm just bummed that this is going to happen. And I just really hope it's not ugly. Giannis deletes all of these posts on his social media, like nuked his Twitter for, like, the last 4 years. And really the only stuff that's up on his Instagram at this point is, like, either brand, like, sponsorship deals, like stuff that are, like, paid ads that he has to keep up, stuff about his family, or, like, when he won a championship. And that, was the sort of, athletes doing cryptic shit. Like, sometimes that means absolutely nothing. And it's just, whichever respective athlete, has their own, Jesus, Nick, they're teams that do social for them. And sometimes they just kind of clean up their feed a little bit, for the sake of the hashtag aesthetic. And so I was like, man, I'm being hopeful. Maybe that's all that it is. No, it's not. And I'm talking about all this stuff about Giannis, and let's do the Pistons thing really quick. Cause another thing, Jacob texts me. He goes, sneaky, like, why not? Like, sneaky, why not Detroit? I don't know why I had not considered that we would be, like, maybe in the conversation for that. I'll just first, let me preface everything I'm about to say with, like, nah, it's not going to happen. Literally 0 chance that it happens. But, which is a terrible way to start, me being like, hey, everything I'm about to say is bullshit. Well, everything I'm about to say is true, but ultimately, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't want you to think that I'm really talking to myself into this and that I really believe it, because I really don't. But I do believe that there is something to be said about the package that Detroit could throw together. And, I mean, you could give up Jaden Ivey. You have to throw Tobias Harris in there to make the money work. So it's Tobias, Ivey, that's a given no matter what. They have to be in the framework of the deal, right? And then it's take your pick. The only people who are not getting moved, obviously, K's not even in the, I'm not even mentioning him as an untouchable, despite the fact that I am right now, because it's like, I don't need to mention him. So it's like, okay, the pool of guys that you can pick from beyond that are Jalen Duren. I think you got to say no to that too. I think you have to say no to that, because it's like, really what it comes down to is you have to give up Asar or Jalen Duren. Either way, that's a tough pill to swallow, right? But when the return is Giannis Antetokounmpo, you think, okay, well, maybe I can, yeah, all right, well, maybe that's fine. Maybe that's fine. It stinks if it's Asar in this scenario because of how just a generational athlete, him and his brother, just guys that you don't really see in any of these leagues. Honestly, just how athletic they are, how talented they are, and how they're kind of like inventing like new. It's not that they're inventing new roles or positions, but they really just kind of seem like a new archetype of guy that I don't know. It's not that it can't be replicated. In 50 years, is going to be a guy who's a million times better than them and everybody else is in the league. But I think you kind of get what I'm attempting to say here, despite the fact that I haven't really made any coherent point. Like, these guys are really, really special, and you're trading him for Giannis Antetokounmpo, bro. Like, the guy who is he's an MVP, he's a Finals MVP. He put up 50 in Game 6 of the Finals. Like, he's a Defensive Player of the Year. This guy's an umpteen-time All-Star. Like, this is the guy. This is the guy that you go all in for. And you push all your chips in the middle and you say, hey, if we can take a big swing and we can play ball here, like, this is what it's for. I think it's really scary to blow young cores up, but I've always been somebody who believes that young cores are made to be broken up, right? And they're and like, in a lot of ways, drafting as well as the Pistons have, these last 5 years since the turn of the decade, like how well the Pistons have drafted between Troy Weaver and between Trajan Langdon, an asset that you have at that point is like, okay, well, we can also like cash all this cool shit in for something that makes us even better. The question is, if you lose all that depth and you lose all that identity and you lose a lot of culture by sending Ron Holland out and Ivy out and is Stu in that deal, like, you're giving up a lot of shit in that deal no matter what. Because I think this will, in recent years, like the Luka trade aside, obviously, players like the big time players getting dealt, the ones that come to mind, like the Dame trade, Kevin Durant to Phoenix specifically, not to Houston, but to Phoenix. Come on, Nick. What's like one more? I'm not going to be able. Does De'Aaron Fox count? Medium, big time player. They're just not like massive overpays. Like, they're just kind of like, yeah, you have to give up a lot. Like, you see crazier shit sent out in trades for like Desmond Bane and Mikal Bridges. These guys getting sent out for $1 million first round picks. The Giannis trade, I think, will be the closest to like a holy shit, that's a lot that team had to give up trade since the Paul George trade to the Clippers, specifically, I should say. I think it's not going to be that crazy, but at least as far as the picks are concerned, I think, matter of fact, maybe it depends on the team, because I think if you're Detroit, you're probably loading the package with personnel rather than, it's not true. You would, if you can keep like Isaiah Stewart on the team by instead just giving up like a super lightly protected first, I think you do something like that. I don't know. I don't need to get too specific about this because, again, it's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen, but I think it's going to be the Knicks. I think if I had to call my shot, a couple days removed from the, is it actually going to happen, realization for Giannis, I think I think it's go time. I really think this is it. Despite the fact that I don't think it's going to happen for like 6 more months. I'd be shocked if this happened in the middle of the season. My pick right now, I think, is the New York Knicks, 100%. And folks, before we go on to the next thing, I just want to say something really quick. So many good emails were sent in these last couple of days. I know I only read one of them today. We're about to do a whole segment that I recorded earlier for Spotify Wrapped, and so I'm about to let you guys go, and we'll move on to something else. I'm going to go to bed because it's 11:30 at night, and I'm going to be awake at 5 in the morning because my son's going to wake up. I just want to say I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the work that you guys have put in, sending in great emails, and I'm going to try to read as many of them as I can in the next episode. And I apologize that I didn't get to many of them because truly you guys sent in some great stuff this week, and I really appreciate it. So, okay, folks, sorry, the structure of this one is just kind of weird because I'm about to send you to a different thing, but for you, it's going to be the same episode. This is getting too meta. I don't need to say this. Okay, folks, Let's do Spotify Wrapped. Spotify Wrapped 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Been out for a day or two. I haven't looked at mine yet. We're going to do what we did last year. Longtime listeners of the show may remember 365 days ago, we blind reacted to my Spotify Wrapped, and I thought it was fun, and I don't know, figure we can do it again. Go ahead and do like a plus 10 or plus 15. Just speed ahead if you want to just get to the actual Wrapped. Little bit of commentary before we jump into it. In the, day or two that Wrapped has been out as of this taping, I've seen more people like annoyed about people posting their Wraps than I've ever seen before. Like I get, look, we all exist on, some of us exist on the same internet, but the internet is so vast that what you might be saying is just people, doing what they normally do. And it's like, yeah, Spotify Wrapped, like, yeah. And, you post it and you get 10,000 likes or people just like make fun of your music taste, or like, I guess there's a new, I haven't done mine yet, but I've seen other people's. And so I guess there's a feature this year where it, Spotify's artificial intelligence that they've tasked with doing everybody's Wrapped this year gives you like an age, like your music listening age is like you're that of a 17-year-old. I'm worried about that. That's in here, right? I'm worried about what that's going to be for me, because it might be like a 15-year-old girl. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I just have seen more people like mad's not the right word, but just like, shut up about your Spotify Wrapped. I'm sorry. I thought this was kind of the one thing that we all just collectively thought was fun. And not only that, but even now this year, YouTube finally did their own version of Wrapped. I couldn't be happier about it. I'm not going to do a whole thing about that for like my YouTube Wrapped. I'll just tell you, because I did look at that. My top channels, number 1 was Adam Friedland. I was in like the 0.01. Like I don't know if it was that high, but I was up there. Big Adam Friedland guy. That was my number 1 YouTube channel this year. In some order after that, it was like Pardon My Take. Rich Eisen was in there. Bill Simmons was in there. Because typically, like, you'll see this in my Spotify Wrapped. I don't use Spotify or anything like any of the, the audio streaming platforms to listen to podcasts. I just watch everything on YouTube, or like even just listen to it on YouTube. I don't know why I'm that way, but that's the way that, especially now that Spotify supports video. I don't know. For the most part, everything I do is on YouTube. But the YouTube Wrap kind of sucked because it also said that like my main, one of my biggest like topics that I was searching for this year was GTA 5 glitches. That's not true. I did earlier this year re-download GTA 5, and for like a week, I just kind of was doing fun shit in it. I think I actually played through the story too. So like, yeah, I played the game, and I don't think it's crazy to think that I, looked up some stuff about GTA 5, but it wouldn't have been like, how do I glitch to get a bunch of money? It wasn't shit like that. You know what I mean? I'm not like going to the casino being like, how do I get the big car on the big wheel? Like, what's the glitch for that? Well, I know the glitch for that. You just immediately leave the game. As soon as the wheel stops and it's not the car, just immediately leave the game. Maybe they fixed that, but I've done that before, and I've actually gotten the car. That was years ago, though. I wasn't looking up GTA glitches. They're like, you love watching NBA highlights. Bullshit. I don't watch that on YouTube. I hate NBA highlights. Like, it said that I loved sports documentaries. I'm like, no, what you're trying to say is that all I did was watch 45-minute long soccer videos, talking about like Pep's Barca or some shit like that. Like, yeah, that stuff I did, but it didn't say it. I just thought the YouTube Wrap this year wasn't reflective of what my actual like viewing habits were. But whatever, they'll get it together. I don't think there's anything. There's like they sort of give you like a personality type. I think mine was like the communicator or something like that, which makes sense. Hey, that's what we're sort of what we're doing here. So, yeah, Spotify Wrapped. Let's jump into it. Like we did last year, please screenshot your top artists and your top podcasts. Send them in, copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. I'll give it like a week. Send them in. I want to see them. And then I will sort of compile the data with my own 2 eyes, and I will let you know in a week or so, what the most listened to songs or artists were for listeners of the show, and, what the most listened to podcasts were. Some of you you're on top of this already, and some of you have already sent them in, what your top podcasts and top artists are. Really appreciate that. But okay, folks, without further ado, let me get this pulled up here. Let me start the screen recording, and there we go. 2025 Spotify Wrapped. It's the Coping Hour. Let's see. Top artist is probably going to be, why don't I do this first? Yeah, let me stop the screen recording. Let me do that. Let me make a quick guess. If I had to hazard a guess, my top artist will either be the Japanese House. I think it's going to be the Japanese House. My number one song is either going to be... It's going to be crazy if it's not Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter. If it's anything else, it might be Won't Diss You by Lil Yachty or Hanger by 8485. And then top podcast, it's going to be Bill. And it's going to be like fucking 40 minutes. Like, I just don't listen to... So top artist is definitely going to be the Japanese House. But alrighty, folks. Now, officially, I can tell you the 2025 Spotify Wrapped is here. There's a button that says let's go. So let's go. 2025. Let me turn this down. We're ready for you, Nick Hinkle. Come on down. This will be on the screen for you, ladies and gentlemen. You listened. We counted 5,302 minutes worth of listening to music this year. That's 3 days. That seems low, but okay. Tastes like yours can't be defined, but let's try anyways. You listen to 146 genres. I don't believe there's that many. So let's keep going. Your top genres, dream pop, pop rap, bubblegum pop, alternative, and hyper pop. Yeah. Age is just a number. Oh, fuck. Here it comes. Please don't be like 15. Your listening age is 24. Cool. I like it. I'm 27, so I still got some youth to me. Still a little bit there. I mean, I'm 27, so of course there's still some youth to me. But you know what I mean? It's actually, that's way better than what I thought it was going to be. Love that for me. Listened to 632 songs this year, but can you guess your number one? It's either Man-Child or Hanger. Wait, I get to pick? What the fuck? This sucks. So I can pick Swoon by Fickle Friends, Won't Diss You by Lil Yachty, Smokin' in the Rain by Benny X and Lil Yachty, Hanger by 8485, or Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter. I get to pick my favorite song? That's bullshit. No, you're supposed to tell me what song I played. Fuck that, man. All right, well, what one am I going to pick? I got to pick Hanger. Wait, you got it? Was it a quiz? Was it a quiz? Were they asking me, or are they just affirming like, all right, that's your choice. That's what you get to do. What the fuck is this? Let's keep going. Your top song, Hanger by 84. I listened 65 times. So was that a quiz? Okay. Yep. My top songs. It's the 5 that we just said. Okay. You made me a playlist. Thanks. I listened to 6 albums this year. That's not true. I listened 3 days worth of listening to music. Isn't that long? Well, yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, it kind of is. But out of those 3 days, I listened to six albums. Okay. What were they? My top album was In the End It Always Does by the Japanese House. I listened for 361 minutes. That's not even my favorite album of hers, but yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. My top albums, The Life of a Showgirl, bullshit. I listened to that once. Well, I guess I listened to The Fate of Ophelia. That doesn't count. This is bad. So my top albums, In the End It Always Does by the Japanese House. Yeah, that's fine. Good at Falling by the Japanese House. Great. Love that record. Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter. Makes complete sense. Front to back. It's a brilliant, brilliant pop record. Breach by 21 Pilots. Yeah, for like 2 weeks I was bumping that. There are some songs on there that I think are really, really good. One Way I think is really, really good. Yeah, okay. And then the last one is The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. This isn't even me this isn't me being like, oh no, everyone's gonna know that I like Taylor Swift. No, if you listen to the show, you know I like Taylor Swift. But this is fiction. It's being made up right in front of our eyes. This is misinformation. Let's keep going. What else is there? 568 minutes of podcast. Top podcast was the Bill Simmons. So wait a minute. So out of those 568 minutes, what did that say? 497 of them were Bill Simmons. Yeah. And then it'd be 10x on YouTube probably. Thankfully, podcasters love to talk. What's this next slide here? Oh, Bill's got a little message for me.
For the Bill Simmons podcast this year, we had a lot of sports, a lot of culture, a lot of everything to talk about. I think the favorite one we did all year was the Luka Doncic trade.
Yeah.
Which happened on a Saturday night. Yep. I was on a date with my wife, and within 10 minutes, I was recording a podcast about the craziest NBA trade that's ever happened. A lot of good memories. I'm looking forward to even some better ones in 2026. So thanks for supporting the podcast.
You're welcome, Bill. That was a really good show that he did. Ryan Russillo was firing on cylinders that he hasn't fired on in years. So yeah, that was a really good episode that he did. 306 different artists this year. Wait, what? I think I moved ahead too fast. Okay, so it's like a race. So they're racing. I can't describe this one for the listeners only, the audio only listeners. I can't describe what the fuck is happening on the screen. Am I supposed to? Is this a game? Or am I just letting them race? Yeah, the Japanese House is gonna be my top artist. Yeah, there she is. Boom, boom. 0.06%, top 0.06% in the Japanese House. Yeah, get on my goddamn motherfucking excuse me level. We made a leaderboard. All right, I'm kind of already. This is pissing me off, so I don't know if you can tell. I'm kind of ready to just get to the end of this because I think this stinks. So I rank. I'm the number. Okay, that's cool. I'm top 63, 60. Okay, cool. I like the Japanese House a lot. Top artist, the Japanese House, Sabrina Carpenter, 84, 85, 21 Pilots, Lil Yachty. That makes more sense. I would probably. Lil Yachty should be a little higher, but yeah, this makes complete sense. 84, 85 has done some really good tracks with Danny Brown this year too. I think they've done 2. One of them is called Girl. Fucking love it. And now a word from one of your favorites. Who's this going to be?
Hello.
It's Sabrina. That's a little horny. I don't want to put that on the screen. Thank you, Sabrina. Thanks for the message. Whatever you say, I'll watch that later. I'm not going to watch it later. Clouds, what club do I belong to? They're going to put me in a club. So put my sorting hat on. What a chaotic little thing. This is so much jumping around here. Do I swipe to find out what club I'm in? Oh, I'm a cat. I'm a big cat. I'm a full charge crew. Your club is committed to the endless party. Club events are high energy. Oh, I'm a scout. My role is scout. You listen to the freshest releases. Always pushing your club forward. Bullshit. That's also not true. I hate the club. I'm in great company. 20% of global listeners are in my club. My club's favorites are 84, 85. Stunna for Vegas, Megan Thee Stallion, cool. Cardi B, Miley Cyrus, Kesha. Okay, yeah, this seems kind of like gay music, but seems kind of gay. So I would wager if these are the people that everybody's listening to, that whatever. Okay, so I was worried I was going to be lumped in with 15-year-old girls. It turns out I'm actually lumped in with the gay men of America. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. And is that it? Are we done? Time for my victory lap. And if you're not ready for Wrapped to be over. Well, ... I assume I just keep scrolling. There's one more thing after this. What is it? We pulled some of your files just in case. Whoa! The Nickstein files are about to drop here on the Coping Hour. What do they got on me? What is Spotify harvesting my data? They listen to everything. Well, I upload audio directly to their platform twice a week. The amount of hours that Spotify has got on me. All right. Well, what's the file say? So I can look at my biggest music listening day, biggest Japanese House day, most diverse day, like Wakanda style, most energetic day, repeat heavy. I don't care about any of this because the repeat heavy day is going to be Manchild for sure. We can do a party. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Spotify Wrapped this year. I guess if I just go back up here, I mean, I don't need to repeat any of that. It's going to be the Japanese House at 84, 85 and Sabrina Carpenter. Cool. Got that out of my system. Actually, if you guys want, I can also look at, well, it's too late. I've already stopped the screen recording. I was going to, go through my, the playlist that they made for me. I guess I could read them to you. It doesn't matter. You saw enough. You saw all the information that you needed to see. Now you know everything that you need to know about Motown Noah. Spotify Wrapped is done. Be sure to send in all of your information. And then, like I said, in like a week or so, once enough people, I'll give you guys a reminder in the next episode. Is the next episode 200? I'll have to look at that. I think the next episode is 200. I'm letting you know. There's not going to be like we've gotten a couple emails about this. I feel bad that I think there's like I don't want you guys to think I'm going to do something cool for the 200th episode. I'm just going to do the episode. It's just going to be a normal episode. I feel bad about that, but I don't know. Is there anything else I want to say before we get out of here? No, I don't think so. That was fun. I've been seeing also a lot of people talking about like, well, they should do Spotify Wrapped actually on like January 1st. Why, man? Why? It's the holidays. It's a fun time to, I don't know. I don't care. Okay. Alrighty, folks. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I don't have a question. Just do your due diligence. I know you got a Wrapped, motherfucker, because you listened on Spotify. So there's no question. Did you think that this was kind of some hack bullshit too? Or some of this data did not, like last year, I don't think Brat was in my top albums, which it 100% was. Also, what the shit was that all about, me picking my favorite song? Was that a quiz? Were they trying to... Let me know that. Was that a quiz? Did you click a thing and it was like, you're right. Did we all just get the right answer? Like, how does that... That is so dumb. Well, Spotify, just send me your information. Not your information. Send me the data that I'm trying to collect, the aforementioned data. Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the 200.